Well, we are here with Decaf in Stephanie's kitchen, which is a new kind of thing for us.
Thanks for coming over.
Oh, this is fun. Thanks for the espresso. Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy Thursday. Stephanie and I were going to have lunch together today and thought we might as well just record the podcast from the kitchen while we're here.
Well. It's safe here.
It's safe here. This is a clean zone. There's a baby in this house, so everything is clean. Stephanie actually just unloaded 3 canisters of Clorox wipes from Amazon Prime.
Don't tell anybody. They are available on Prime. You can only buy 3 right now.
So she maxed out.
I maxed out.
We commend that.
Yeah, I've got a 9-month-old. I need Clorox wipes.
Yes, Clorox. We all need
hard.
Clorox wipes. I'm 29. I need Clorox wipes. It's
been hard.
Madness. Okay, speaking of the 9-month-old, let's just go ahead and dive into our topics because this is something that Stephanie and I talk about all the time. We talked about it on the podcast last week with Mark, but from a different angle. But the COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
So I've expressed concerns with getting it at my age. I think that, people like my mom's age in their 60s should definitely get it. But we've gone back and forth talking about this, and especially you with the baby. New York City shutting down schools this week. People are counting on this vaccine to help us open back up schools and daycares or whatever. But as far as we know, hasn't been approved for kids, right?
And I think there's just a lot of misinformation out there because a lot of people have been asking me, oh, will you get him vaccinated if it comes out, and will the daycares require it? Will the schools require it? But I don't even know if the ones that have come out and said that they're effective, might be approved soon, are even available or children are even eligible for it because it hasn't been tested, as far as I know, on anyone under the age of 12. And I don't think that they can approve a vaccine unless it's actually tested on that population.
And so I agree. It makes me really nervous. And so why are we it just goes to show, why are we putting so much emphasis on this vaccine rather than actual make policy things that make sense, COVID policies that make sense, and we're saying, well, everyone in the population is going to get the vaccine, which if everyone does, good for them, but you can't just come out with a new thing and expect you to put it in your child.
I think ultimately we would rely on what our pediatrician recommended. Totally. She's really great, and we really trust her. She's been sort of guiding us through this whole thing. Is it okay for him to go to daycare? Mm-hmm. Is it okay for him to be around other people? Mm-hmm. And she's been really helpful in providing advice for us. So he is in daycare. He's been doing really well. And so I think, we'll just have to ask her when it comes to that time, is it safe and is it effective and can he even get it?
Right.
But also I think the older population really needs to be first and your first responders. So I think it's going to be a while before the general population is even eligible to get it.
Which is fine with me.
Which is totally fine, which way it should be.
Yeah, we've been very careful. I would love to see my grandma, so I would love for her to get it. I haven't seen her since March. I mean, I've stood in her front yard and yelled at her when she's standing on the porch.
Yeah.
And we've talked that way, and we talk on the phone every Sunday night, but I'd love to see her. I'd love for her to be able to get it. I'm by no means an anti-vaxxer. I get my flu shot. I got my flu shot at the office with Justin earlier this year. I'm cool with things like that. There's just a lot of stuff that hasn't been talked about yet. And so for all of these people to be putting emphasis on, well, once we get a vaccine, the world can open back up again, it shouldn't rely on that. It should be...
there's a lot of things to consider.
Yeah, and the world should be opening back up with common sense protocols regardless of vaccine or not. I mean...
Yeah, and once there is a widely available vaccine, I do think that it sort of puts it in your own hands, right?
Totally.
If you want to get vaccinated because you want to do certain things, mm-hmm. I think we had talked about some concert venues are even...
Yes, Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster Live Nation. Yeah,
so it just depends on what you want to do in your life and mm-hmm. how you want to go about things. I'd probably get it if it was safe and available. But, I think we just don't know a lot right now.
We don't. And so let's touch on that. Let's touch on putting responsibility in people's hands. So when Stephanie and I were talking about our topics, I was like, we should do a hypocrisy check because there's a lot
of it going on right now.
There's a lot going on, especially with Thanksgiving next week. The first, I have 3 hypocrisy check moments that we should talk about.
Okay.
So the first one is Governor Newsom in California, who said that people should not be meeting in crowds of over 8 people.
I know. And Mayor Cooper just said it in Nashville this morning.
Exactly. And then Newsom the other day was spotted by TMZ photographers having an indoor dinner with 13 people. And it was an indoor-outdoor dinner, according to him. But then they had to shut the doors because his group was being too loud, no masks. So Thanksgiving for me, but not for you, I guess is the way it goes. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too critical.
No, I mean, I think that's why people aren't trusting what other public officials are saying, is because they're doing the opposite of what they're saying, and oftentimes coming up with things based on public pressure instead of things that actually are working.
Right.
You can't have a restaurant open past 10. Well, the
big
coronavirus doesn't go away. It doesn't start spreading at 10:01. There's no difference. It's all about how many people and what you have going on. But the same thing with Mayor Cooper. He had an event yesterday with a crowd of people in attendance. They were socially distanced and spaced out. But then this morning literally told people they can't have more than 8 people in their home.
Yeah, let's talk about this in your home stuff. I
just think everybody needs to stay away from everybody else's family decisions.
I saw a really funny meme online that was a SWAT team breaking down a door, and the caption said, "Open up, Karen. We saw you carrying a turkey that feeds 10." And it's like everyone knows this is so stupid.
Yes.
It is, and I will say, me and my family, my uncle has colon cancer. We're not going to my aunt and uncle's house for Thanksgiving. The 3 of us, my mom, my sister, and I, our immediate family, we're going to the beach.
Yeah.
And we're going to stay in a condo, just the 3 of us, because we don't want to put my uncle at risk. But that's a decision that the Dawsons made. Not that Kay Ivey in Alabama, because my whole family's in Alabama, not that Kay Ivey made, not that anyone in Alabama has made for us. We made the decision for our family. And I think that if any governor, mayor, whatever wants to say, hey, as for me and my house, we're not going to meet in a group larger than 8.
Right.
But you are an adult and you can think on your own. That's what's really making me mad.
I think it also is psychology tells you that you tell people to do certain things and in a way that's really condescending, you're not going to have a whole lot of participation in that.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, same with my family. We're having a small Thanksgiving with just my immediate family, and then I'm keeping our baby home from daycare for the whole week so that I can limit exposure. So he won't have been since Thursday of this week till
Thursday of next week.
It makes sense. Even though it's only 7 days, I do think that it's just something that makes me feel a little bit better that, he's not going to be around a bunch of kids before that. But again, we're just having it with my immediate family.
Well, yeah, it's just such
But nobody told us to do that.
No one told you. You made a decision. And
people are going to make their own decisions.
Governor Whitmer in Michigan, gosh, we keep talking about her because she just keeps doing so many, ridiculous things. But this week she closed all the restaurants and indoor dining spaces in Michigan again.
Yeah.
And one of the reporters said, why are you closing down if our numbers are going down? And she said, well, we across the board want to discourage people meeting in groups before Thanksgiving. So you're going to close restaurants and close these businesses just because you don't want people meeting in groups? Let the restaurant decide what's best for them.
And I get that there's a lot of intentions that are well-meaning, but at the end of the day, you cannot dictate or legislate those types of things.
No.
And I think that you need to let people make their own decisions. At the early stages of the virus, we didn't know a whole lot.
Had no idea.
It was a little bit different in the sense of with the lockdowns. I think people were more accepting of them at first because we just didn't know how bad it was going to be or what was going to happen. But now that we kind of know, everybody needs to make their own decisions. We know the risks. We know the risks. I know the risks. You know the risks, and I think other people do as well. And at some point, we've got to let people make their own decisions.
I agree. I totally agree. Mic drop on that. It's time for some individual responsibility and for the government to let us do that.
Yes.
It is time. Let's transition to something funny. Not funny. Okay, this isn't funny.
What are you talking?
The bed bugs.
Oh, that's not a joke. Not funny at all.
Not funny.
Not funny.
What I think is funny is I want to pat Natalie Allison on the back because she is always the super sleuth that finds out about things that happen in the Capitol before anyone else does. And I got on Twitter looking for podcast topics like la da da whatever, and Natalie tweeted this tweet that just said bed bugs in the Capitol ! Which it was like an extra
in the Cordell Hall.
In Cordell Hall, not in the Capitol. But it was like one of those extra read all about it, like sensational headlines that I just thought was so funny. So Natalie, you cracked me up once again. You're so funny.
Things that happen in 2020. So I did not have this one in my thoughts as something, but it's very 2020 that it would happen. But it's not a joke. So I'm just going to take this opportunity to tell people what they need to. So when you travel, Do not under any circumstance.
This is like Mom Stephanie coming out. I love it.
I'm really sorry.
Go, do it.
When you travel, this is a PSA for everybody. Do not put your suitcase on the bed of a hotel room or your Airbnb.
I do that.
When you come home, do not take your suitcase inside. I leave it outside. It airs out. I mean, I take the clothes out and they immediately go in the washer. And the suitcase itself stays outside. Because I have had a bed bug experience and it is really expensive and horrifying. And most people will tell you that they have some kind of trauma from the whole experience.
Two
like,
of 11 in our office have trauma.
I am the clean, like, I am a clean freak. I clean everything all day. But having bed bugs was the worst experience of my entire life.
See, and I didn't realize until Stephanie explained it to me that bed bugs aren't like lice.
No, it's not like clean or dirty. Neither is lice.
Yeah, neither is lice. But, like, I kind of thought that, like, when you have lice, you just kind of, like, put the peanut butter in your hair and you... Isn't that what kills them?
I don't think so.
Maybe I don't know anything about anything. But I thought that you just, like,
do not
kill
put peanut butter in your hair.
Okay, so I don't know anything.
Go to the store and get some Rid-X.
Okay, sure. Rid-X. Yeah, great. I thought you just, like, washed your sheets and everything was fine. Apparently, bed bugs, it's like an ordeal. Like, you have to, like,
fumigate. You have to heat the like, one of the treatments is, like, heating the environment up to, like, 100 and something degrees. And then you have to make sure that, like, like, all your electronics, because they, like, scurry into your electronics to stay, like, hide away. And I am a psycho. Like, Holt knows this. When we go to hotels or Airbnbs, I check everything before we get.
I need to be more careful.
Our stuff is even in there. Well, once you have them, you'll be careful.
I know. Well, now that you've scarred me, I'm Google image searching bed bugs. Apparently, I don't know anything about anything. No. But we wish all the best to the Cordell Hull cleaning staff because it's about to be an experience for them.
Yeah. So I think they're all going home according to the story. And I have informed my husband that works up there that he is to strip down on the front porch before he comes in.
And just leave the clothes out there for 14 days.
To leave the clothes out there. I will clean it up.
We will take our hazmat suits.
Deal
with everything. No bed bugs in this house.
Colt, if you're watching, do not bring that inside.
Colt, I swear, I'll never come back to this house.
We're safe right now. We're safe here right now.
We're safe here right now. Oh, gosh. Well, the last topic that I want to cover is a fun topic. We've all been watching a lot of TV this season. I think that Stephanie and I both put a substantial dent in our Netflix queue.
Yes.
I'm currently on The Crown. I've started at season 1.
I'm on season 2.
Okay, so you're not... Oh, this is amazing.
I had started watching season 2, stopped watching it, started watching it.
But now, I mean, we're back.
I'm back. I want to see season 3 because I'm obsessed with Princess Diana.
That's literally why I started it.
So I restarted season 2. Holt's reluctantly come along for this journey. So
now that I know you love this, I'm going to get you something for Christmas that I can't tell you now, but we'll have to do another episode and have like a live reading of this. I'm going to get you a book for Christmas that you're going to love so much.
Okay, we will.
Okay, we'll be back with that.
Stay tuned
for that. But we've put a dent in our Netflix queue, and I've watched through Friends twice on HBO since the pandemic started.
Did you watch Friends when they were originally on, or were you too young?
I was old enough to watch the last season with my mom.
Okay.
So I was still kind of young. I didn't really understand some of the more suggestive dialogue.
Did you know what... Have you watched Seinfeld?
No, I haven't watched Seinfeld.
Oh my God, Taylor.
I know Justin's gonna kill me for this. He does this all. Y'all do this all the time. I know. I haven't watched Seinfeld. I'm a Friends girl.
There's a whole generation that doesn't know Seinfeld.
Okay, I should get on it. I actually purchased Hulu to watch Seinfeld because Justin said he would fire me. So like, I guess this might be my last podcast.
Do you even understand the Seinfeld memes that are out there? Okay.
I promise I will.
Okay, anyway, we're going to talk about...
we'll talk about everything but Seinfeld. But,
revivals.
Yeah, there are revivals that are coming up, and I quite honestly don't understand the difference between a sequel and a revival.
I don't either.
What I think is that a sequel, and I was actually in on like a debate with Justin and Kara doing this the other day, talking about Dexter, and I still don't understand. I think that a revival, or a reboot, whatever you want to call it, is same characters, same name of the show, just continuing the storyline years later. And
so Full House would have been...
That would be a reboot or a revival because it was the same characters.
But different storyline.
But it's still like Full House.
They're going on to...
Whereas like Boy Meets World and Girl Meets World
were different.
Girl Meets World would have been a sequel.
I don't know that I agree.
I know. I don't know that I agree either. I'm just saying it. I'm literally just saying it. I have no idea.
I don't know. Tell us what it is. I have no idea.
Tell us.
But which ones are coming?
But we do
Gilmore
know.
Girls did a reboot.
A reboot, yes. A special short season. Same characters.
Yeah.
Same everything.
Okay.
But Friends is going to do a reboot.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited for. Because, I've really worn out those episodes. Saved by the Bell is doing one.
Saved by the Bell needs to stay. Saved by the Bell needs to stay where it has been.
Okay, we loved it, though. But we loved it.
Which is in
the 90s.
90s?
Early 90s?
It's 80s or 90s.
I think it has to be early 90s. At least
early 90s. Maybe. It needs to stay there.
It does need to stay.
We just need to leave it where it is.
Yes.
Same thing with, Melrose Place and all that.
Yeah, all those. Well, they did the 90210 sequel, the new one. I didn't watch it. That was on CW. I didn't watch that. They've done a lot of them. I really am excited.
They can't do a Grey's Anatomy reboot because
they've killed off all the characters
and it's still
going. Yeah. I did hear the other night that one of the Grey's Anatomy characters, I won't spoil it, but came back in a COVID episode, which I also have issues with all of these shows doing COVID-related storylines. Like, I watch TV to escape the reality of my life. I don't want to watch a COVID storyline.
Fair. Fair point.
So if any producers out there want our opinion on the reboots and the TV shows,
you're welcome.
We are done with COVID-related storylines. Mm-hmm. None of us want that.
No, I mean, but history will be interesting to go back and watch.
Yeah, in a few years.
But they're a medical show. I can kind of get it.
Yeah, I can get medical show, but This Is Us doing a COVID storyline, that's sad. I don't want to deal with that. So you are pro reboot in some cases, because some people are like, leave it all where it is.
No, I think some shows need to be left alone, but then some could be really good if they come back. It depends on how it's done and if the original cast is coming back. I think all of that matters.
I totally agree. I think that Boy Meets World, they shouldn't have done Corey and Topanga's daughter. They should have just kept it centered around Corey and not Girl Meets World, because that was kind of lame. But Fuller House, people loved that. It was wholesome. The next generation of people like us who watched Full House, it was wholesome.
True.
But I'm really excited for the Friends reboot, and I will watch Seinfeld. So main takeaways of this episode are Stephanie makes
peanut butter in your hair. That is the number one. Leave your suitcases outside.
And we have no idea what the difference between a sequel and a reboot is.
We don't.
And also,
I have nothing to tell you.
Governments shouldn't tell you how many people you can have in your house.
And also, just enjoy Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
and y'all make your decisions and stay safe.
Yeah, no one's going to break down your door because you have a turkey that feeds 10.
I mean, they might. But
not. I mean, meet in a small town. Yeah, don't meet in a big city with a mayor that thinks that he can control how many people are in your house. Go to a small town and you'll be fine. All right. Happy Thanksgiving. We will see you next week for a special Thanksgiving episode, but we will all be on the road by then for our travel destinations.
Yes.
So,
well, we're not going very far.
Yeah, I'm not going very far. I'm going to Alabama. But be safe out there, and we'll see you next week.